Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 31 of the What the Sheep podcast, where we will be discussing and breaking down and just generally freaking out over episode 121 of Campaign Due for Critical Role. This is our first What the Sheep podcast episode of 2021. And
Yay!
What an appropriate episode to start on, because this was quite something. I think we can say at the very least.
So good.
So good. It had a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything that we were probably all yearning for. From, the 4-week hiatus. But before we get into the juiciness of the episode, can we briefly talk about the new music for the art reel? It's sort of like a remastered version that Cole McGinnis had done previously, and he just, really upped his game this time around. It felt really epic.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's because the original is really good. It's super fantasy and it super sets the theme of Wildmount, like kind of dark and mysterious. But now it's like got the rolling kind of feel to it. It feels super heroic. It makes the Mighty Nine feel like a bit, they've upped their game a little bit.
Yeah.
So cool. And I was really weirded out at first because I kept thinking the music was skipping, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why does it sound so weird? And I was messaging you guys like, does the music changed? And then I saw everyone on Twitter. I was like, okay, I'm not going insane. It is actually different music, which just shows that I obviously can't hear properly. But yeah, it's so good. I went back and rewatched the art reel just to listen to the music. Man, I hope he releases it as like a sequel so that you can. I don't need to just keep rewatching the art reel.
I know. Oh, so God. Good. So good. But then, we have this epic score that really, reinforces the idea of, heroism and stuff. And then we have moments, where the Mighty Nine is just goofing off and being assholes. And it's still appropriate, I feel like.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's yeah, they're super heroic, but they're also still people.
Yeah.
And they're also still the Mighty Nine. So that's good.
Exactly. But yeah, huge shout out to Cole McGinnis for being an incredible composer.
So good.
If you haven't, he has a bunch of amazing songs on his YouTube channel, some of which I binge frequently. And they really, if you're a writer, they really put you in the mood for writing high fantasy and stuff like that. So definitely be sure to check out Cole McGinnis's other stuff. Super good. Yeah. But anyways, now on to the juicy juice of this episode. Right off the bat, we got hit with some crazy new information about Molly and the Tomb Takers. I think the first big drop was the Claret Aordians, or the Claret Aorters, I think it was.
It's just Order.
Or was it Order? Oh, I thought it was Aorters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Claret Orders.
Aorta sounds cool. Like, it kind of fits as well. Yeah, the Claret Orders, which, I think a lot of people have been kind of thinking it's been them for a little while. Because Molly was a blood hunter, Kree's got blood magic. It's definitely some kind of that society. So it's kind of cool to see it actually confirmed by Matt now that it is them.
Adam is now mentioning. Yeah, Adam is now mentioning in chat, and I remember Travis was losing his mind a little bit. This isn't the first mention of the Claret Order.
No, it's the first in-game reference. I'm fairly certain. There might have been characters that were a part of it. It might have come up in some degree. I think maybe with the clasp. I don't know English. In campaign 1, but it's essentially an organization in Exandria that they're like the witches a little bit, if you've ever played the Witcher games, kind of myth hunters and dealing with that sort of stuff. Not necessarily good, not necessarily evil, so it's pretty cool that we'll get this little confirmation of where the Tomb Takers originated from. And again, it makes sense if they're all blood hunters. It's or along the lines. Yeah, it's cool. But there was a little moment later too. Then when Travis was still thinking about it, he's like, oh yeah, it's that, because the claret, like I always say claret, Matt said claret, I don't know.
Yeah,
again,
it's one of them.
It's red orders. The claret orders, they've got like a subsection of it which is like werefolk and like werewolves and that sort of thing. I think that was Travis making the connection to the werewolf. It's like, oh, it's them. So I thought that was, yeah. Oh, I wonder if anyone in the Tomb Takers is a werewolf.
Oh,
I'm getting my theory.
Who do you think it would be?
Who do you think
it would be? The elf?
I reckon the elf. Yeah, we haven't seen them do anything yet.
Typhel, I think their name is.
Typhel, yeah.
Oh.
Calling it now. Someone in the Tomb Takers is a werewolf. There's always got to be a werewolf theory, I think, surrounding Critical Role.
Yeah,
that's mine.
I agree. Especially because if they're all blood hunters or, you know, some kind of an archetype involving blood, isn't one of the subclasses for blood hunter like lycanthropy or something?
Yes. Yeah, it's like order of, well, no. Yeah, it is. It's like Order of the Lycan or something like that.
So hey, yeah. I mean,
and yep.
Could be.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I've got so many theories about like Lucian as well, which we can get to a bit later, but
yeah.
Oh boy. Like I was saying to you before we started here, I was a bit not looking forward to the episode. I was really keen for it to be back, but I was like, oh, it's just going to be trudging through snow. It's just going to be them chatting, which I don't know why I was apprehensive to them chatting because it's always amazing. But I was just like, you know, I just want the story to progress. I want them to get to Ale. But this was like, they spent like one day of travel this whole episode, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
All the backstory we got on the Tomb Takers, all the kind of insights into Lucian that we got. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a lot.
My brain's going off.
Yeah, I don't really know what I was expecting for this episode. I kind of figured, because usually when there have been periods of breaks, specifically with holiday breaks and stuff, the cast is usually like super giggly, and you know they're just you know getting back into things. They haven't played D&D in a while, so it's usually not that high stakes of an episode. It's pretty chill.
Yeah.
And while I would consider this episode like fairly chill, there was definitely a lot of interesting story progression through learning more about the backstories of the Tomb Takers and Molly. I'm kind of like what you were saying. So definitely super happy about that. And let's see in chat who was paying attention, because I certainly wasn't, and I don't think Alana was, of the names of the Somnovan that Matt had dropped.
I definitely heard them.
I definitely heard them, but I cannot say I remember their names.
I know the names of the Tomb Takers.
Yes.
And we only got, I think, three names of the Somnovan, which is cool. That's even more backstory. The fact that Lucian was like being somewhat open about that too. One was Ira. Thank you, cool cat. I'm just gonna trust you.
Oh yeah, yes, I do believe one of them was Ira.
Oh, here we go, Lynn. Well done. Oh. Okay, we got Luctus, Gordius, maybe Ira, Vigilon. Yeah, they sound like stupid wizard names.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have at least, what is that? Almost around half of the Somnova name, because there's 9 of them, I would assume.
45%. I don't know. Quick math.
Something like that. It's around a math number.
People don't come to the show for math.
Yeah, this isn't a math podcast.
But anyway, let's keep it story progression, because I love the idea that the entire start of the episode is them having this conversation with Lucian. Like, they'd already kind of decided to travel together, but them still trying to get in the long rest.
I know.
Yeah. And Lucian just calls him out and like, well, I kind of like you a bit underpowered at the moment.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to long rest. And they just kept trying to do it.
Yep. He's being honest.
Yeah. I feel like that is something true. Yeah, he's been honest with them quite a lot, but it's like lying through a mission a little bit. What he's doing. Like, he does hold a lot of stuff back. Doesn't give them all the answers, but I feel like apart from when he's talking about himself, like personality wise, a lot of the stuff he's telling him is the truth.
Yeah.
Because that came up a lot of times, how like they caught him on his shit of like when he was just lying to them, not about any of the lore, just himself. Yeah, but I loved them just trying to sleep. I loved the moment where like they find the metal wheelchair under the snow, and they're like, "Oh
Dagon's,
my god!" Yeah,
Dagon's dead.
Just, like, dead under the snow.
Yeah,
and he's just like lying completely still.
Yep.
He's so cool. He's
I
such
love
a cool
Dagon.
character. I just love like he loves us. He wants to keep coming with us. I want the rest of my money.
It's so perfect. I wonder if he's still going to be following them across the lava river.
I feel like, has he said that he's crossed it before? I feel
like I would assume he probably has.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I think he can figure it out himself. He's probably got like an incredible snow attachment on his wheelchair.
Probably something like, wicked cool.
Yeah, that we don't get to see.
Yeah, I'll never get a chance to see.
But no, I think he's fine. I think he can make it across, no problem.
One thing that I noticed about these conversations that Lucian and the Mighty Nine have been having is that they are definitely, understandably, asking Lucian a lot of questions. And Lucian even pointed that out. He was like, you guys are asking me a lot of questions, and this conversation feels pretty one-sided. But then the party says, oh, you can ask us anything and we'll answer. But it's like, I noticed that every time then that Lucian does ask them a question, the Mighty Nine either don't answer it, or they answer his question with asking a question from him. So it still turns out to be a very one-sided conversation. So I can understand why Lucian is getting rather frustrated with the party. But
yeah, it's fair enough.
I just found it pretty funny.
Yeah. It's like, even though they're kind of being amenable and talking, they still don't trust each other at all.
Yeah.
To the point where he dispels the polymorph of them trying to flee.
Yep.
To be fair, they were trying to flee.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, all right, we're leaving.
True.
Not caring if these guys fall in lava. And also potentially trying to sabotage it on the way out. So fair call on Lucian's part there.
Yeah.
Man, that was funny.
But then, my heart was... It was such an interesting combat, too. Because it wasn't necessarily trying to, kill the fire elementals. It was just trying to get across the lava to not die. But the layer of intensity that Veth and Jester added to it, by trying to, unstrap the bag across Zoran, and then Veth failing to cast the spell on Otis, definitely made my heart race a little bit more than it needed to during that encounter.
Otis is bizarre as well. Like, I know they're all kind of a bit creepy because they've all got the kind of like Lucian speaks through them, and they're clearly part of this cult, which I think we can call it a cult now. But like, Zoran kind of has a decent personality. Typhel,
I think it is.
Typhel. They seem like just kind of like a quiet. Lucian's obviously got all the personality in the world. Kree's kind of quiet, but Otis is spooky.
Otis is a kind of an oddball.
Matt plays a lot of small folk as like really creepy. Like there's that gnome back in the Gentleman's Place. Do you remember that guy?
Oh.
Dweez, is it? Dweez?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Really creepy guy as well. Like, I just keep getting like that imagery for Otis because it's just like kind of like
wasn't there another creepy one? The guy who led them through the Labenda swamps that was like hitting on Yasha. They like roomed together.
he was a human though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Come on,
I don't know. Matt's small folk. They're amazing.
and then we have our gem, Yeza. Yeza is the diamond in the rough.
Perfect.
Never change, Yeza. But that was a what it was this episode. What conversation were they having where
Oh,
I think it was
I want to talk
between
about it.
Caleb
Yeah,
and Veth, where they're like, my husband has no game. No
and
game.
that's like, yeah.
Yeah, fair.
I want to talk about that conversation. I've got some thoughts about it.
Yeah, those there we got some nice back to back to back to back conversations that evening.
Mm. Oh,
That were all
yeah,
really
and
great.
some of them were like really fun and lighthearted. Some of them were like ships
Yeah,
that like we wanted to explore, and then some were like deeply depressing and sad, and
yeah,
like there's
yeah,
a whole range of deep and meaningfuls in
yeah,
Critical Role.
yeah.
Uh, um, oh boy, yeah. So let's see, where are we up to? What else happened?
Was there anything else in the
Keep it
conversation in the
chronological.
beginning? I mean, obviously we had the same dick
Yeah,
comment where they're poking fun
amazing.
at Lucian.
Yeah,
And actually
yeah,
got him to laugh. So he's not entirely humorless, I suppose.
yeah.
Um,
That was hilarious.
but then we had also Caduceus not trying to piss him off, but maybe unknowingly did by telling Lucian that they can offer like a new perspective on things. But it seems like
Mm.
Lucian is
Oh,
kind
that
of
was such.
lost. He's kind of
Yeah,
Lucian's kind of lost in his own arrogance, where he believes that he's this all-knowing being because of the Somnovan giving him this knowledge. And I feel like it's like his
yeah.
arrogance is blinding him in that classical sense.
Caduceus is so good at calling people out on that, and
Yeah,
because he doesn't really have a social filter,
yeah,
Caduceus, he's not concerned with like coming across as rude. He's just
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
So him saying like you lack perspective, like you've only got two eyes. It's great wording as well. Like
yeah,
you've only got two eyes, and like Lucian's laughing. He's like, but no, you really do. Like,
yeah.
but then he alluded to something else. Lucian, I think he was alluding to like the Somnovan or like
Uh
the
huh.
greater entity. Um, but yeah, like he's saying like you need to think of other people's perspective, and then there was that great callback later in the episode where like, uh, oh, what was it? Because Yasha called him out on it too. She said like perspective, because he said something. I should have had it
Oh,
prepared. What was that, guys? Can you remember? It was like damn it. That's just gone from my brain. Yeah, Yasha with the burnt foot. Was
oh
that
yeah.
it? Yeah, she's like, yeah, perspective. Either way, it was great. It was a lovely callback. But yeah, Caduceus calling out people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she indicated down. She pointed to her foot. That's it. Um, man, so
But
good.
again, what
Uh,
makes like meta wise, what makes also that interaction between Caduceus and Lucian even better is that was
Talison's.
Talison's old
Yeah,
character. That was Molly. So it adds that just
must be
extra layer of depth out of
must
game
be
at the very
so
least.
weird. Like one to be finally getting some backstory of a character you created, but not playing that character.
Yeah,
Um, it just makes it like, yeah, very bizarre. Very bizarre that he's not playing that character. Obviously, it makes sense because he's got his own character and it's a
yeah.
different person. Maybe. Uh, so it's still a bit strange, but yeah, I love it when he's just like freaking out about anything Matt's saying about
Yeah.
Lucian, or like even at the end when they get to the tarot cards, like freaking out about anything Molly related.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's so good. I'm trying to keep up with chat as well as we do.
I know, Chet's flying.
Sorry if I'm not responding to chat. Um,
But that
yeah,
was
man.
pretty much it from that early conversation.
Yeah,
And then obviously we had the pseudo combat. It was more of like a race to get across
yeah,
the lava
yeah.
river.
Wasn't even like a battle map.
Um, but the implications of that scene, given that Otis recognized that Veth tried to cast a spell on them.
Oh, I
Zoran
mean,
didn't quite pick up on the fact that Jester was trying
no.
to pull some stuff, but and then we later found out that Otis at least told Lucian what Veth was up to because Lucian made it like a side comment about some of the things that happened earlier in that day.
Did you tell
So
him, or did Lucian just know?
true.
But
True.
yeah, no, that's not good.
No.
That like it was obvious, like, and then Veth didn't even try to play it off as any kind of like, oh no, I was trying to help you. It was just like, yep, that
Right.
happened.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But I guess
um,
does Otis know what kind of a spell was being
I
cast?
don't know. It wasn't confirmed, but maybe they felt like an influence over
Yeah.
themselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Although, yeah, that's how that's what it influences the person. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That
it
makes
could be
sense.
like, yeah. Someone's just said they're wearing the same shirt as me. Cool.
Oh, nice. Oh, is that one of the? Oh, yeah, it's the volcano.
Yeah, yeah. Um. Oh boy. Yeah. No, that's not great in terms of trust. Um.
Right. And as
But
we saw then, later when they're having more conversations around the fire, this is jumping a little far ahead into the episode, but the consequences of many of the things that have happened between the Tomb Takers and the Mighty Nine are starting to reach a boiling point almost. Lucian
yeah,
is, as Matt said, starting to lose his patience um,
yeah,
with the party.
yeah, definitely. Um. Yeah, it's gonna be. Oh well. I'm not jumping ahead, but because of the way this episode ended, I'm super excited to see the start of the next episode.
Yeah,
I know everyone is, but like, I think it's gonna be because it ended so quickly. We'll get to it, but
yeah,
it just ended really
yeah.
quickly. But before the lava river, before the fire elementals, they had their chats. We completely skipped the wonderful chats
Was
that
that before?
the chats by the river's edge were before.
Oh,
So
that's right. That all happened in the
yeah,
evening. Oh, I thought that for some reason in my head I thought that happened after. No, you are right though. You are
yeah.
right.
So we had Bo and Yasha go to the river's edge and discuss
Ah,
their plans for their date.
yep.
Um, which I feel like maybe Bo was pushing for. Let's just have the date here, and Yasha's like, no, I want to wait.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the ultimate
Oh,
troll, Sam.
oh. So it's so funny. Sam Sam is like the king with like meta comedy. I feel like
Yeah,
he always
yeah.
he always does this stuff. Um, but sadly,
He's
our Bo Yasha manifesting efforts unfortunately did not quite work in our favor for this episode. Doesn't mean it won't work for next episode. I
yeah.
still have hope that we'll get a Bo Yasha date soon.
I feel like we will. I think Caleb was very much suggesting that he was going to invite the Tomb Takers into the tower. So,
Yes.
but it might be weird for Yasha if like Lucian's in the tower. Like, man, she
Oh
said at
yeah.
some point, no, because I was just talking about, oh, it's a bit hard to think now whether it was her talking to Bo, talking to Veth, or talking to Jester, because Yasha had 3 good talks this episode. So she said at some point, like, it's so weird looking at him, it's so weird seeing him.
Hmm.
And saying, like, I just want him back. It's like, ugh, like, it's so
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. But then
Because I feel,
oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because I feel like, um, very strongly, at least some of the Mighty Nine, especially Yasha, maybe feel like they can get Molly back.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting, and something we can absolutely theorize
Oh
about.
yeah, 100%. And especially again, not to jump ahead, but given
Not
the
right
ending of this episode, it's definitely on the
now.
table now. Um,
Yeah.
but one thing that we've talked about in previous episodes of the podcast was, will Lucian have any kind of a reaction when he sees like the mural in
Mm.
the tower that's dedicated to him? If it might jog anything,
Yeah.
or if he'll just look at it and
I
not have
think
any particular thoughts on it.
because I think he's picking up. Well, we don't know. We don't know
Yeah.
like how much he knows. We don't know if he remembers all the time with the Mighty Nine or not. He's obviously acknowledged the fact that they cared about Molly, but he's kind of ignored it. He's like, oh well, not me. Um, but it's interesting to know because I think they've brought up the coat. I think Yasha had the coat with her when they were
Yes.
talking to him, and he didn't have any reaction to it, really. He didn't have any reaction to the flower that she gave him, or at least any visible reaction. So either he's playing it super cool, or it's just gone from him. At least gone in the sense that it's not on the surface.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited that I think there probably won't be much of a reaction other than, oh, cool. Like,
Yeah.
must have really liked him. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else happened. Chats were good. When did the chats in the dome? Was that
That
before or after?
was like right after, I think.
Yeah, that was them taking watch for the nights, wasn't it?
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
So we had Caleb and Veth, Jester and Yasha, Bowen, Ford.
Yeah, and the Caleb and Veth conversation was quite depressing.
Yeah, I'm like, so
quite
this is what I was
sad.
talking about. It was brutally honest in a lot of ways, them talking about each other, but it was really out of character for Veth. And I saw this really good post on Reddit, and I'm gonna say it was by That Yellow Teapot on Reddit, like asking like what's going on with Veth, and there was really good discussion in there talking about how normally like Veth doesn't always like baby Caleb, like not used to baby Caleb a lot. Veth doesn't do it so much, but she's never explicitly cruel like she kind of was in this conversation. She's saying like, yeah, you need to feel guilty, like we've got our own guilt, like don't feel good about that, you've got so much other stuff to feel guilty about. And I didn't feel like a joke. It felt like she was being serious about it. And the discussion in that post led to like, is this some kind of corruption from the dagger, maybe?
Oh.
And I thought that's really cool.
That's
a really cool concept. This idea that she's becoming maybe a little bit not evil in any sense.
She's losing herself because like when she uses it, she's sacrificing her like essence to empower it.
Yeah. Because it did strike me that conversation of like it was a classic kind of Veth and Caleb having a chat, Caleb feeling really down about something. not to dismiss Caleb's feelings, but Caleb feeling really kind of upset about something, feeling guilt. And normally Veth is quite supportive. And she would. It's like, yeah, you know, I love you, but she was talking about her own guilt and her own feelings of selfishness, like whether you accept that or not, but she was feeling selfish for leaving her family. But it just, it felt kind of a bit, I don't mean to say cruel. She wasn't necessarily cruel, but what she said felt kind of cruel. It wasn't necessarily a typical reassuring conversation. And I think, like, because Liam's role play is always incredible, and I feel like it might be a bit harder that they're not all at the table together, but he still role plays and he still physically acts character so well, which is like why I love that character. He's just, because normally in those conversations he starts down, head down, and he stayed that way that entire conversation. There was no kind of real perk up. He was just still so down because there was no real positive resolution to that conversation. It was like, yeah, we are total pieces of shit, we should feel bad, good night. Like it kind of like upset me a bit because I love Caleb and Veth conversations because it's always like, let's work through our backstories, let's work through our angst, and this was like, no, let's feel it, let's dwell on it. Which is also the angst I require.
Of course.
But it's sad. So I really like the idea that maybe the dag is influencing it.
I didn't even think of that.
Might not be. Might just be how Sam was feeling on the night. I wanted to roleplay that way. But you know, cool theory. I like it.
But then Chad is sort of talking about, you know, what if Veth decides to leave after this Isocross arc? What does that mean for Veth, and what does that mean for the party as well as Caleb?
Because that's kind of where the conversation was heading a bit, but I felt like it was leaning more towards her staying and like not leaving her family, but not going back full time to her family. Because she was saying like, because Caleb's like, I feel guilty because I dragged you out here, and she's like, no, you didn't. I wanted you to, like, I wanted to come. But again, I feel like that's also could be Dag influence, because previously Veth's always been like, I really want to be with my family. That's my main concern. That's my main goal. I love adventuring. I want to do it, but my main focus is my family. Now it feels like a little bit different. It feels a little bit like I love my family. I really do, but my main goal is adventuring. So yeah, it's always going to be sad whatever happens.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's because this past last night's episode and the episode previous, and maybe even a couple episodes before that, because they're dealing with such a insane scenario with trying to stop the Tomb Takers and these Somnovan, this city, and then with Jester having her where she aged, five or so years and stuff. A few members of the party have talked about like, man, we really could just like die tomorrow. So maybe just that sentiment alone is starting to finally like sink in to each member of the party. And for Veth, this is kind of her way of like realizing like, oh my gosh, like we literally could die. And so maybe she's expressing that through feeling guilty about the different things she's done. So yeah, there's probably definitely a lot of things that are weighing down on everyone now at this point.
And there's no like I said, like Caleb and Veth, their conversations is often Veth reassuring Caleb. Like that's no one's job. Like it's not Veth's job to make Caleb feel better. She's allowed to feel sad and guilty and upset herself and not have to be the quirky one in the conversation. So that's all fine. I just like the kind of the timing maybe that there is some other influence. Which honestly, if there is no other influence, it's still a really good conversation. It's still a really cool character moment. Them having these doubts.
Yeah. Even this far into it, when we obviously know that they are quite capable and powerful, people.
Yeah.
So it makes them feel more real when they have these moments of doubt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's really nice to see.
Because it's not just like yo ho, the adventurers.
Yeah.
For me.
Exactly.
Like facing the consequences of these choices. There's a really good conversation I saw recently. They're talking about, does a character in D&D need to have like dead family or like dead parents was the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's like the conversation turned to like, well, if an adventurer has a family, they're a piece of shit because they're leaving their family behind. And it's like, well, there's so much more to it because like it's great for the backstory. Like it's a really cool concept to have in your backstory. But then you get to that point where you need to start to justify leaving your family because the conversation turned to a level 5 adventurer is able to do like a quest for a month and have a lifetime supply of gold. Like the amount of gold you make is ridiculous. So it's at the point where now they're like level 13. I know they're saving the world and all that sort of stuff, but I know it's Sam's character, but realistically, they could do this without Veth. I mean, they could do it without one of each of the members. Maybe not one of the clerics. They're clerics. But realistically, they've got friends. They've got like NPCs they could call in to help. They could realistically do it without Veth. It's more her wanting to see this out and help her friends.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but obviously that's not how D&D works. Sam's there.
Yeah.
But again, Sam could always bring in Tarian Darrington and we could have him in Islecross.
Yeah.
And could you imagine how good that would be?
Oh my gosh.
Imagine this super tense Lucian arc.
And Tarian like, just shows up.
And Tarian shows up. But yeah, it's like, I think it's really interesting that it's going to be a really big thing when Veth finally decides what she's going to do. And it might be the campaign end. Because I feel like this was her saying, like, no, I've got to do this. I'll do Islecross with my friends, and then I'll go back.
Yeah.
Or was it... Okay, now I'm just rambling a bit here, so tell me to shut up if I go on.
No, please continue.
She said at one point, like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm probably done. Was that end the war? Because then she had a conversation with Yes, and Yes was like, no, go. Like, don't worry. Like... Essentially, Matt saying, no, it's fine, keep playing. But was that... Because I feel like there was a definitive point at which she said, I'm going to get my body back, I'm going to help finish the war. and then I'm coming home, and
I feel
then
like
there was the
most
conversation.
recently it was with what they're doing now. I think like
Yeah,
when they had left, she was like, I'm gonna go, help see this through to the end, and then once it's over, then I'll be back, and that'll
but
be it.
no, because there was something previous to that, which was like the dead end for her. Essentially, it was like, I'm going to
Oh,
not to steal a word from chat because it's a really good word, rationalize. I'm not going to keep rationalizing adventuring. I'm going to say I'm home with my family. But then Yez is like, no, do it. And Caleb's like, no, don't worry. I can, chuck up the mansion. Your family can come with us. And she's like, okay, I can turn this into like a part-time job sort of thing. Previous to that, she was very much like, I'm done after this point. And I
mm-hmm.
think it might have been because I don't see her being like, no, I must support my friends as they do this job for
Yeah,
Vesterona. Like, that's like a job. It's obviously turned
yeah,
into something much more, but that was just kind of like a contract.
mm-hmm.
So it just keeps adding on the fact that this contract, like this one little job, has turned into a life or death,
Yeah.
cataclysmic arc. Is she then going to be like, all right, now I'm really done? Or is she going to be like, everything the Mighty Nine touches turns to cataclysm. I need to stay with
And
them.
yeah, yeah.
Like, this is all end of the world stuff, always with you guys.
I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, that's probably something she's been thinking about. So I wouldn't be surprised if she ultimately decides to just, be like, okay, this is it. Once this is over, I'm done because
Yeah.
I know for a fact you guys are going to be getting into more shenanigans and more things. So I need to have, I need to look after myself and I need to just say, this is it. I'm done.
Just think of all the things. Like, we don't know how long the campaign's going to go. We've had our
Yeah.
guesses. But think of all the loose ends. Like, if they all get addressed, you've got Ukatoa, you've got the Hag, you've
Yeah.
got maybe Geladon. Probably not. I don't reckon. Maybe in the
Mm-hmm.
campaign anymore. But, like, the entire Solstice Academy, not Solstice, the Cerberus
Yeah.
Assembly,
Yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm.
Caleb's arc.
Yeah.
I feel like aspects of Bo's arc aren't resolved. Obviously,
Yeah.
Ukatoa, we've got to go back to Caduceus' family,
Yeah.
which I feel might probably be resolved, at least in some extent.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, man, like, it's
Even Jester, because Jester, still wants to reunite the
yeah, of
gentleman and
course,
her mother.
yeah, man. I kind of hope that's a one shot, like after the
Oh
campaign, the
man.
Parent Trap one
Yeah,
shot.
a Parent Trap one shot. Oh my
But
gosh.
it would be nice if the campaign ended with at least at some point before it ends, the
Yeah.
gentleman and Marion getting back together. Um, but there is still so much. I don't see this being like, in 20 episodes' time when this arc ends, depending how long this arc is. 20 episodes is a really long time. But whenever this arc ends, they'd be like, they're like, uh, all right, that's it. Like, we're just gonna, chill for a year.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
Maybe. I
Yeah.
remember sorry, the rambling is continuing. I remember we at one point said we thought they might take a year break after TravelerCon.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
they might do it after this if they actually
Yeah.
stop the Somnovan coming back or whatever, and they avoid this cataclysm, which is totally Tharizdun, by the way. I'm just putting my theory out there right now. If they stop that now, they might be like, what's our most pressing concern? Okay, it's the Cerberus Assembly. That's going
Yeah.
to take time. Let's take a
Yeah.
break. And then Veth can go off and live with her family for a year. Like, I could see that being a time for a break. And yeah. Okay, I'm done.
I could definitely see that. Like we were saying, we were trying to figure out because I feel like they need like a year break.
Yeah.
Um,
It would
just to work things out on their own, do their own individual character
it would
things.
solve problems of like Veth wanting to be away from her family. It would mean that we miss out on a ton of relationship building, I think, between like Ford and
That's
Jester and
also
Bo and
true. Yeah.
Yasha. Like, they'd come back after the year and like Bo and Yasha would be married or something. And it's
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's also true.
so
But then year-long breaks like this could also, depending on what each character decides to do, they could equal potential one-shots in the future. Like a
boy.
prequel sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, the episode.
Yeah. Anyways, that was that. What was the next conversation? The next one was Jester and Yasha.
Oh, a much lighter conversation.
Oh yeah. A nice change of mood between Jester and Yasha.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was so good. Because I think, Jester is the biggest Yasha shipper.
I know. Like, I think didn't Laura even say that on like a Talks Machina episode where she's like, "Oh, I love them."
Yeah, it's just so sweet. The fact that they were both so excited for
each other. It was so cute.
I love Yasha animated because she's got like a stoic, quiet. She's obviously come out of her shell so much since and even the island, even before that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One small thing, even though, the conversation she had with Veth where, Sam is being,
a troll.
A goof. Yasha initiated a hug with Veth. Yeah. Well, after reading the poem. Yeah.
Yeah. That sweet was really funny. That's sweet. That poem was really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Yasha getting excited because like when Jess is like, he kissed me, she's like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Total. Yeah, I need more kind of Jester and Yasha just having deeper meaningfuls and girl talk because it's adorable.
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait for Bo and Yasha to have their first kiss, and then even if like Jester isn't there to witness it, Laura still is. So I can't wait to see Laura's reaction. But then I also can't wait for Yasha and Jester to have a conversation, and then Yasha telling Jester that they kissed, and then seeing Jester's reaction to it. It's gonna be so good.
I kind of want Bo and Yasha's kiss to be like quiet and intimate, but the idea that Jester is also there when it happens is really appealing to me. Like I can see it happening like in the midst of battle or something. They kiss.
I was just gonna say,
just, like, freaking out.
Because of this talk of like, oh my gosh, we could die tomorrow, like we could die today. We're dealing with forces greater than ourselves. If they reach some kind of a climactic battle with the Tomb Takers or otherwise, and things are looking pretty dire, like Yasha or Bo are looking pretty rough, I could see one of them kissing the other as just I want to do this just in case we don't make it out of this alive. I could definitely see something like that happening.
The show makes me feel like a teenager.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, they got a kiss.
Yeah, I know. Are they gonna hold hands? Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's honestly that.
Yeah.
It's wanting something sweet and happy to enjoy.
Exactly.
Oh boy, but yeah, no, it was really sweet. Jester talking about the kiss. Again, showing like a bit more of her maturity, saying like it's nothing like the books I've read. I feel this connection to him. I feel comfortable with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's really sweet. And like mirrored that to like Bo and Ford's talk.
It was like, pretty similar, but then yeah.
I love that relationship so much.
The captain and the first mate. Yeah. So good. It's so good.
They were very wholesome scenes.
Yeah, but again, the contrast that you kind of were talking about, Jester describing the kiss, and then Ford describing it. Ford being like, I don't know how to feel about it. Like that was scary. Like I was terrified.
Yeah. It's just man, Ford's such a good character, and it's just the way Travis plays him.
Yeah.
Like he's a super high charisma guy, but he is like so not confident in himself a lot of the times, like even in his abilities. Like he's always been the first to kind of say like, I don't know what I'm doing, like I don't know who I am, what's happening, kind of thing.
I feel
and not from sorry, you go.
No, I was gonna say it's just interesting that you say that, and as Lynn is now bringing up in chat, like he's playing the low wisdom very, very well.
Yeah.
Where he always feels lost. He feels like he never knows who he is or what he should be doing.
Yeah.
He doesn't recognize the confidence that he should have in himself. So he plays that really well.
I think Caduceus's influence on him is so important.
Yeah.
Which we haven't had a lot of Ford Caduceus scenes in a while. I hope we get some eventually because I love it when they bond over the Wild Mother, and I love Caduceus kind of like leading him on just like a thought process.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is true. It's like the low wisdom. He's intelligent. He's charismatic. He's just not that kind of. Uh, he is contemplative. He just doesn't know
Yeah.
what to contemplate.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, it's oh man, it's so good. The characters complement each other so well.
Oh, I know.
Um,
But speaking of these wonderful conversations, we can segue into our fan art section as they are
Ooh,
quite
hello.
appropriate. We'll go with mine first because mine was a bit earlier in the episode, but still a conversation. Here is my pick for this week's fan art by @Mercata2 on Twitter. It was the wonderful handshake between Yasha and Bo that they shared next to the lava.
I forgot about the handshake.
Yep.
It's so good. Man,
Then there's a little shooting star in the background, so maybe their wishes will come true. But I just love seeing like the height difference between Bo and Yasha.
Yeah. Did we talk about this? Like how Yasha's not actually that tall.
Yeah, she's only like I think like 5'11".
We did. I think
or like between 5'8" and 5'11", I think.
Yeah,
is what
average. She's like average size, just below 6 foot, but like somehow the art has just grown to her.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. It's just it's so funny to see. But man, I love white-haired Yasha. I keep forgetting that she's got this like Snow White.
Oh yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's lovely. And seeing all the art, especially her with like the oh no, I'm not gonna know what it's called. It's not Yushanka. That's like
the hat.
The hat, yeah. Chat can't see me right now, but I'm miming the hat. If anyone knows the name of that type of hat, let me know. But yeah, I love it. It's such a cool aesthetic.
But so cozy, and
Bow with their abs out in the freezing cold winter.
I know, classic, classic. I love the suspenders. I just realized she has suspenders on.
Ooh,
repping the suspenders. Let's go. But yes, @Mercata2 on Twitter. Fabulous art. And then we have Alana's pick, which is on the conversations that we were talking about earlier by @NoxLottle on Twitter. We have the cute little conversations between Bo and Ford and Jester and Yasha with the rest of the party sleeping.
And you can see like Bo's kicking Cad down the bottom. I just love Ford's kind of embarrassed, but also he's like really listening to Bo's face. I just thought this was really sweet. I like the juxtaposition.
And I love
again, Yasha's hair is incredible.
I know. I love Jester's expression, her blushed cheeks, smile. So good. I love Jester art particularly just because people draw her so adorably that so cute. Love it.
So
but those were wonderful conversations. Wonderful conversations that we had. That was because I love Night Watch conversations. Those are probably my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
That's when I feel like characters open up the most. It's like the therapy sessions.
Yeah, because it's now we've got like tower scenes as well, but it's also nice to go back to kind of the taking watch, just waiting. Yeah.
But then, because I guess we already talked about then in the morning when they ran across the river. Or I guess what we should talk about real quick is the fact that Molly never sleeps, or Lucian never sleeps.
I want to talk about that. I really
eyes unblinking, eyes never close.
Okay, because I put this on Twitter. Like, is he maybe a warlock? Like, I know. Okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but like I know we've not had any other indication, but there's a specific Eldritch invocation which is like you don't need to sleep at all. And I'm like, could he maybe like the fact that he's being gifted boons from his patron, like
Huh.
I'm getting strong warlock vibes from him from this.
Maybe.
It's very like Pact of the Old One, like
Yeah, because again, if this is all deeply rooted somehow into Tharizdun, then maybe
the Eldritch Invocation, which is called, can't remember off the top of my head. It's like something. I'll look it up. It's specific to the Pact of the Tome feature, which is where you get like a grimoire of shadows, like you have a secretive book. He's got a book. It's like an aspect of the moon. Thank you, Adam. Aspect of the moon. It's like, you don't need to sleep.
Moon? Did someone say moon? Ruinous? Oh my god.
Blow the case wider!
Oh my gosh.
It is Tharizdun!
The Critical Role writers are gonna snipe us out here. We know too much.
The moon's alive! Yeah. Oh. Yeah, but anyway, I think he might be a warlock.
Yeah.
It could explain, like, the weird shit with the eyes. Yeah, and, like, oh boy, I don't know. It's just really, I think it's a really cool theory.
My gosh.
But someone also mentioned that, like, the fact that he doesn't blink, it's like eyes never shut.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, did you already say that? You might have already said that.
Oh no, like that's just what what we're talking about. Yeah, it's.
But like, it's such a creepy callback to Molly's death.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with like Pact of the Tome warlock for Lucian. And moon related shit.
Huh. Didn't even think about that.
What if Ruidus is a portal to the astral sea?
Maybe like a
but
because they're trying to create a portal with these threshold crests, right? Kind of.
They're trying to. It's not so much a portal; it's like a teleportation magic.
Yeah.
But Molly was a follower of the Moonweaver as well. Like,
oh yeah. Oh yeah. How curious that is. How curious. But then, after the whole lava scene and the party was bedding down for the evening, they were going to sleep in the tower until they, rudely shut the door on Lucian.
Oh,
and Lucian being the brat that he is.
Such a brat. That's such a good way to describe it.
Oh my god. Like, if I can't have it, neither can you.
Pretty much. Like, I get what Caleb was doing. It was kind of a risky move. It didn't pay off. But like, it was frustrating. I saw there's someone I follow on Twitter who's like a massive Bo Yasha shipper. Like, that's all they've wanted is just like the Bo Yasha scene in the tower. They were furious. That was so
Lucian
angry.
keeps cock blocking out.
You ruined it. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh gosh. Yeah. But then I was surprised then that Caleb sort of leading the charge, confronted Lucian about it all and sort of, laid everything out.
Ooh, and he wants to see that book.
Yeah. So, I'm worried that Caleb is I think we're probably on the same wavelength here. Because Lucian is being like, they're granting me all this knowledge and stuff. Yeah. Caleb, that's right up Caleb's alley, especially with some of the things he's alluded to wanting to accomplish. So
ancient wizards with the power to, do whatever they want. Sure, let me get in contact with them. Yeah.
I guess.
Where did the book? Okay, remind me. Where did the book come from? Did he say he just found it?
I think they looted it from somewhere, I believe.
Say where?
Because Lucian said that he wasn't always like a follower of the Somnovan and stuff. He stumbled upon the book and read it.
Right.
Then
it's like it's a journal. But what if it is like like, no, that's a bad example. I was gonna say like a death note, but what if it is like an item that was specifically left by the Somnovan to enthrall someone? Well, I mean, that seems like it is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
There's not some great revelation on that, jeez. But like, what if, like, if it is like either this grimoire of shadows for the warlock theory, or if it was like some kind of there's another evil book in D&D.
What
I
if
can't remember what it's called.
Because we're kind of under the assumption that this floating city is the collective consciousness of the Somnovan.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah, because it kind of seems like they took that bit of the city, the Cognosum ward, and they took all the wizards within it to the Astral Sea to save it from Aeol crashing.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
But something went weird. It was like hopping into a teleporter with a fly. Like, I feel like they got smushed together. Because they say that the city's like living. It's like breathing and moving and voices screaming out. It makes it seem as if the souls of the people were incorporated into the mass of the city, which is gross. It's really cool, but it's and yeah, and then Lynn's pointing out the eyes of 9 are like the leaders of the Somnovan.
Yeah.
Which, like, how long ago did Aeol crash? Like, that was during the Calamity, wasn't it? Like, it was
around that time.
It was a pre-Calamity city. It went down during the Divergence. So that's old. Like, there's been weird bubble of for a while.
Because now I'm starting to think about this theory of like Molly being or Lucian being a warlock and stuff. If this floating city is the collective consciousness of the people of Somnovan, or even just the people of Aeor in general, what if the eyes of 9 reside in the book? Like their essence is in the book, and that's how they're like able to influence Lucian. Because then I kind of think of it similar to like kind of like a Horcrux or whatever. They sealed their souls in this book that anyone who is looking for knowledge would stumble upon it and be inclined to read it. Maybe that's how they're able to influence.
He said too, like, I missed it a little bit. I really should rewatch these scenes if I want to talk about them. But he mentioned like when he was doing the spell with Vesterogna, how he came in contact with the city. Is that correct? So, but and then he shattered. Like, what is he implying that Vesterogna shattered him, or is he implying that the city shattered him? I don't know.
I think he was implying that Veth did.
Right. What if she didn't? What if like it was just the absolute chaos of that city like broke him literally, and it caused him to appear dead? Because I still feel like it was an astral projection spell. She could have like put some flavor on it, but
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, everyone's telling me the truth.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, Derogno admitted to it. Okay, there you go. It's all good. Makes sense.
And there we go.
I received my statement.
I'll just cut out the past couple minutes of.
Maybe Veth made a mistake. I didn't.
Yeah.
That's funny.
The narrator chimes in. She did not make a mistake.
She did not. Yeah, perfect. Ron Howard.
Yeah.
So good.
But I'm interested. I wonder if, because as we were saying before, Lucian has been pretty upfront with the Mighty Nine, lying by omission, sure.
Yeah.
And maybe not answering direct questions that he doesn't want to answer, but he hasn't, lied. So I don't think we can assume that he is lying when he's saying that there's still things in the book that he doesn't understand.
Yeah. And because the things he said has lined up with their knowledge so far of the city and of the Somnovan. And I like that he described them like he definitely does have some doubts. Like he described them as batty wizards.
Yeah.
Which is just a maybe his personality shining through a bit, but
Yeah,
like
probably.
It's weird for him to maybe have this reverence for them, but then also to kind of like insult them a little bit in his description of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but I mean, if you think about it, that's such a warlock thing to do, to be like, I am powered by this great power, which I know nothing about. It's like Ford with Ukatoa, like, I got all these cool powers. What the fuck is that snake monster thing? Like, that was my Ford impression, by the way, apparently.
That was pretty good. I cast his spell on the illusion.
Yeah. The accents.
Yeah, I know, the accent scene was so good.
But no, like I'm sticking to Warlock just because I feel like it is that kind of idea of like, I have this quest, I know what my purpose is, I know how I got my powers. I'm not 100% on the finer details.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just seeing Asparagus typing the accent. You don't get it. Amazing.
Oh my gosh. It was too good.
Yeah.
But then, I think one of the there were a lot of, I think, important moments of this episode that will have, further implications, especially some of the backstory drops we got. But the insane one was Jester's arrow reading. Oh my goodness. Where do we begin?
Okay, so I know very little about tarot in like real world, but I know a lot. Like, I'm also like a massive skeptic, but it's D&D. But like, I know that a lot of it is like how you read it.
Yeah.
But there is something in this, the luck of the draw, the luck of the roll that made these specific cards. Again, with tarot, I feel like you can make any card relate to any situation in your life.
Sure, it just depends on how it relates to your situation.
It's like horoscope. It's like horoscope a bit. Like, you read the horoscope, you're like, that relates to me. No offense to anyone that likes that sort of stuff. But it's just like the thematically, the way those cards were pulled was amazing. Like, to the point where they're joking about like writers, like,
but the fact that Matt rolled a 9 for the first roll, and that 9 is a depiction of the calamity, is insane.
I love and hate 9 so much because there shouldn't be that much meaning in it. That's why is there so much meaning? I know. Because
even Matt was like, this fucking campaign, I can't believe it. But then, as Adam put, it specifically means history and the dream, and it relates to Lucian's past. He had a dream of, the Somnova gave him a dream, and that led him to where he is now in his present.
What was the name of that card again?
The first one?
Yeah.
I don't know if Jester gave a name. She just said it relates to history and a dream, I think.
Right.
History and the dream. I guess that's what it's named. The only one that I'm trying to kind of figure out is the Tyrant, which relates to his present.
Yeah.
Could it be that the Mighty 9 are the red dragon that's facing him down?
Yeah, maybe? That's interesting. It's 2 dragons. She didn't specify what color the other dragon was.
Yeah.
Because that one's hard, but it was still very much like, oh god, I'm so bad at like talking about it. It was just so good in the moment.
Yeah,
it's red and blue. Okay, it's red and blue. Interesting, red and blue dragon.
Yeah, that one was the one that I wasn't entirely sure how to relate it. Maybe there's deeper meaning for red and blue dragons that might relate.
Are the tarot cards online somewhere? Because people are talking about this stuff with a lot of certainty of like what these cards look like. Have I missed this? Are the cards available?
Taliesin may have posted them on his Twitter, maybe.
I'd love to like see that if there is something like that.
Because I interpreted as the Red Dragon facing him as the like him coming and crossing paths with the Mighty Nine, and then being at like an impasse almost.
Yeah, I mean, red dragons too, though. Like, because if you think about like the meaning behind a red dragon, it's like power and control and greed. So,
Ooh, so maybe it's just more of the Somnovan then.
yeah, I don't know if it's like it could be. It could be like just saying like you're faced with this great power, but there is like ego involved. There is like,
Hmm.
which I mean,
Oh,
that is
so maybe the card was more of like a self-reflection almost.
maybe
Like this is what you could be will become, Lucian. Oh no, because I guess that would relate to his future. So maybe that's what he is now.
a red
He
dragon.
himself, or is just a a tyrant in a way.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Think about like, oh yeah, think about like he's killed Vesterogna. He's like kind of that was more personal though. I think. I don't think the Tomb Takers haven't killed anyone. Oh, wait, no, yes, they have. They
yeah,
killed all the people in the in the
yeah.
tomb. In the tomb.
Just a few irrelevant NPCs.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. um, I don't know. That was a good one.
Yeah, but then the
And then
final card, Death, possibly meaning rebirth, which led to the hand twitch.
I love the way Jester said that. She's like, it's death.
Yeah.
Which is, not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because like death, it can be transition, it can be change.
Which could mean so many different things.
A fucking hand twitch. What's going on? What does it mean?
Yeah. What does that mean?
Is it just Lucian like feeling angry? Is it just Lucian feeling concerned? Is it Molly like inside?
Right. Yeah.
Banging on the door trying to get out.
Oh my gosh.
And then that's the thing. It was like 3.5 hours. It ended suddenly. Like there was no resolution to the night. There was no all right, then you go to sleep and we'll pick it up in the morning. It was he walks away and Matt kind of pauses for a bit thinking he's like, we're going to end it there. I think he really wants to think about Lucian's response to that.
Yeah. That's the kind of vibe I got.
Yeah, the two twitches too. Yeah, like yeah, straight away I just thought, oh, that's Molly. That's like
right
because it called him out on death, rebirth, renewal.
Because in a way, that's kind of what happened. That's how Molly came to be.
And what was the name of the card? Like, cause he had to roll to get death. It was. What was the name of this card?
I don't know, because I think it was. She rolled because depending on how you flipped the card, something was going to be facing you, and the way you flipped it, death was facing him.
Ooh, man, I hope they release one day like a full tarot guide for D&D. Death was 18 roll. Yeah, it could have been upright death. Cool. Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh my gosh, what does it mean? The two twitches. Oh.
Because like we saw throughout the episode him breaking his composure a little bit on occasion for comedic effect. Like when they got lost and like then they were ribbing him about it. Like, yeah, I'm lost. Like, so what? That was very Molly-ish. But again, I still think that was just Lucian. There was also another moment, I can't remember what it was, but like where he had another slight little outburst, and you're like, oh, that's kind of like how Molly would have acted in that situation. But this felt like he was really affected by it.
Yeah.
And he played it calm, he played it cool. I know Matt ended it, but I could have just loved Bo to be like insight check. Just to see what was he thinking in that scene, because it was very much like, oh, that was very interesting. Thank you. I've always been curious. And then he leaves in the dead of night.
Yeah. And turns away from everyone. Because Matt said when Lucian sat down, he was facing away from the party, from his group. Oh
Oh boy.
Do you think maybe Lucian is like having doubts now?
Yeah, because it could just be like he's like, oh shit, is this leading me to my death?
Yeah.
Which it probably is. Like, I don't see Lucian necessarily coming out of this alive either way, whether or not he works against the Mighty Nine or works with the Mighty Nine. I feel like it's a bad time for Lucian.
Right.
Yeah, people are pointing out the other outbreak was him shouting at Bo, which is perfect Molly. Like,
Yeah.
I hate you. Like,
Yeah.
it's so
But again,
good.
because Molly was always a part of Lucian. Molly was just the part that got rebirthed and, was brought back into his body. So
yeah,
Molly is still a part of Lucian, and we obviously see that coming out in his personality. But
Molly didn't have all that other aspect of Lucian in him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what's this? It's like, yeah, all of Molly was Lucian, not all of Lucian is Molly.
Yes.
There you go. That works.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. That was ridiculously good.
I know. I loved Laura's reaction as she was drawing the cards as well. She was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, it's like and excuse me. And Travis in that scene is incredible because like it's just him like loving his wife because she's like, oh my god, and you just see Travis is like into it because it is a bit of like Jester playing it up, but then you get these absolutely ridiculous pulls that have again so much kind of felt meaning. But I feel like tarot and cards have significant meaning in this world. Like, look at campaign 1, there was those tarot readings in Marquette, which were really cool. They were super significant and had a lot of meaning to them as well.
And what I like is because Matt recognizes, tarot cards and all that stuff, I feel like whenever I wouldn't be surprised, I don't assume he does, but I would think that whenever a tarot card reading happens, he will then try to weave the results of the tarot into the story in some way.
Absolutely, yeah. I like too that she didn't try to like cheat the result either, because she's done that before where she's like tried to slip a card in or like and like Molly did that as well, like the first time he ever met Jester. Yeah, man. Sorry, I haven't seen this yet. Anyone else remember the pendant that I think Cree was wearing when they ran into the Tomb Takers? I believe it was described as having red liquid in it. Someone's blood, most likely.
Yeah.
Like that they need to get their blood back, that's for sure. Cree's definitely got a sample of each of their bloods.
Oh yeah,
and it is
100%.
not okay. Yeah.
But I guess we've reached the point of the episode where we can talk about our crazy tinfoil hat theories. They're gonna get us sniped by the.
Already started.
But I feel like I feel like the idea of Lucian being a warlock is definitely a possibility, especially with all the implications of the moon that has. The moon theory lives on.
Yeah, cool. Asparagus. Wait, we didn't start that. Yeah, okay, cool. Chill.
Yeah, wait, we didn't start already? Yeah, I feel like this whole podcast episode has been just one long crazy tinfoil hat theory. But I'm trying to think of anything else. I feel like
our theories are grounded this time. Like,
yeah, that's true. Like, I think we're actually going to be right this time.
Oh my god! I mean, we're always
right. Yeah, we've never been
still,
wrong. Just when you say we're wrong, it just hasn't happened yet.
Exactly. Like, you guys just didn't see the deleted scenes where Vandrin was totally on Rumblecusp.
Yep.
We got like exclusive access to those scenes, so
it's the uncut version of the episode.
Yeah. Oh, we're idiots. So Lucian is a warlock, maybe of the Great Old Ones, or could be homebrew, but I think Tome, Pact of the Tome, whatever it's called.
Molly is creeping back in, as seen with that
Mm-hmm.
the hand twitching. I feel like that's
Yeah.
probably not like a crazy theory. I feel like there's definitely some strong
And
merit to that one.
yeah, I feel like that's going to be hard to justify too, because if Molly was a fragment, I don't see how a fragment could take over the whole, unless it's more like Molly has always been in there. He has remembered all his memories, and it's now causing him to have that doubt, have that feeling of, like
Yeah.
thinking about that. Like maybe he's trying to be pushing all those memories aside to
Mm.
focus on the goal at hand, but now he's having the doubts. Because I don't see like necessarily Molly taking control again, as much as I'd love
Mm.
to. That seems like it would be really messy character wise.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do? Because it's technically Tao's character if Molly does come back in his full. So I don't know.
Oh.
But Ruidus is Tharizdun's prison. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lynn.
Yep.
Um,
We'll keep that one
that's
going.
a solid one. I think a lot of people are cool with that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's in there. But like there's still shackles. Like he's still technically shackled. So
Right.
there's still like 4 of them to break, right? They only
Mm-hmm.
broke 1.
Yeah. Maybe Thurston is looking for a different way to break out. Maybe
Ooh,
and the
he's
city
down
is
on
the
the back
key.
door. What if there's like no Tharizdun connection to the city? We've just been hurt too many times before.
Yeah. That could also be it. Wouldn't be surprised.
But the city is evil. The city's definitely evil
Right.
to some extent
Yeah.
because the bad feels they get from it. Caduceus has been haunted by it. The fact that Vokodo was like, "Fuck this, I'm out." Like
Yeah.
he was this super malevolent, powerful being was scared of it.
Yeah.
Um, there must be some weight behind this city, which is terrifying.
Exactly.
Either it's going to come back and be bad, or it's going to still always be in the astral sea and be bad, or they destroy it and yay, it's good. Like, um,
Mm-hmm.
man, I like that they're talking about Allura again. I think they
Mm.
definitely need some more wizard help, but I
Yeah.
don't know if they're going to get
Agree.
it because you can't teleport to this place.
Right. Exactly. Oh,
Boy, yeah.
so much. And then Danny
Yes.
brings up the idea that Bree could be potentially controlling Lucian, because we don't really know whose blood is in the necklace.
Yeah. There's something about Kree too. Kree doesn't seem 100% on board. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's
She also hasn't gotten a whole lot of screen
no.
time while they've been out here.
Yeah, there's just
Kind
something
of
like
keeps to herself.
occasionally like the Tomb Takers will make comments or do something and Lucian will kind of like scold them a little bit. But
Yeah.
for some reason it's like Kree dissents in some ways, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It feels like yeah, like Kree usurping Lucian or maybe something like
That's kind of
that.
what I'm thinking. The
Yeah,
usurping route.
she's not. I don't think she's 100% on board, and I think we're going to see some conflict with
Yeah.
her. Um, yeah,
Especially so now if Lucian is suddenly having doubts
yeah.
and Kree
It
picks
gives
up on that. Oh man.
it gives that character an out because the arc can still continue with a new
Yeah.
villain, but
Yeah.
we get our purple boy back. I like that, Ricky. They go wrangle the pet dreadnought and
Oh
have it in
yeah.
the city, the Astral Sea.
Sure.
That won't turn bad. I don't see the city taking control of the dreadnought at all.
Oh no.
Yeah, man.
But I
Yeah,
guess if
Essex
oh
is
yeah,
nice and
obviously
proper.
yeah. Yeah.
And then I saw people mentioning in chat earlier too. Sorry,
No, go
super out of
ahead.
it.
Go ahead.
I saw people in chat talking about it earlier. Caleb rightfully didn't trust the idea of sending the crest to Essex.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that's a good call, I think, on that part. But then
Yeah.
he's like all about trusting the trusting the tomb takers and like reading the book. I think you're on the right track with maybe, yeah, Caleb wants to, just have a look at the book, but
Mm-hmm.
his ulterior motive of maybe finding power, because that's always
Right.
kind of been there. Whenever he comes
Yeah.
across some kind of great power, it's always, I think, a thought he has. Like when the Traveler revealed himself, I think Caleb's like, "Hey, we can help you. Can you help us? You know, for like some things going on." Like, obviously not how Liam roleplayed it, but it's interesting. I think you're probably on the money there a bit with like, I could see him reading the book and having the minds reach out to him, and that being a real conflict of like, we can offer you great power, and him like, oh, you.
Well, yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I want like an evil Caleb arc. I feel like that'd be so angsty and so good.
Yeah, amazing. And like Liam would love that if he gets to fire all his friends. John Nesper Nazareth. Do you guys think that Taliesin will stop playing Cad and start playing Molly if they save him? He's already talking about returning to his family. No.
I don't think so. I don't think he would. I think he would let Molly continue being played by Matt. Especially because, depending on what happens, Molly might just want to be done with it all. And just go back to the circus and live a simple life.
I don't know how we get a scenario where Molly comes back, he's, just there, he's Molly, back to complete normal. Taliesin chooses to play Cad. I don't know how we get a scenario where Molly doesn't stick with the Mighty Nine, or he leaves but Yasha sticks with the Mighty Nine. Like, I don't know.
Oh man.
I kind of think, I don't want to think, because I love theorizing that it's just going to pop back out, but I do kind of think that we're not going to get Molly back. I think we might get Lucian with Molly's memories, or like Lucian with acknowledging Molly's existence and like having fondness for it, maybe. I don't know. Oh wow, Lynn, that's
or Veth leaves and Sam plays Molly. I mean, Sam already does a perfect Lucian accent, so already halfway there.
I love it.
Might as well full send.
Oh boy.
But I suppose with all that being said, if we don't have any other, do we have any other final thoughts, feelings, emotions about this episode? We could go on and on and on and on about all the different things that this episode means, but ultimately, hopefully next week we get more once Matt is able to figure out, how he wants to play.
Yeah, how do we think the episode's going to start? But we still don't know.
I feel like it'll I think Jester will probably go back to the party and like brag about the tarot reading she did and sort of explain what happened. And then Caduceus in particular might be like, I wonder how Lucian's reacting to that. I could see something like that happening.
Oh boy. Yeah. I'm so keen. Did you see the theory floating around, people saying they think Lucian's a beholder?
I have not seen that one.
I thought that was going to be funny, because just all the eyes
doing
weird stuff.
I mean,
that's a theory I'll chuck in, just in case.
Yep, we'll throw it in there, just to make sure we're covering all of our bases. Just in case he is one, we can be like, aha! You're right.
That'd be hilarious. He's like, haha, I fooled you. I marked you a beholder.
Yeah. The biggest plot twist.
Yeah.
He's got anti-magic on.
I like it.
Yep. Oh boy. Well, I suppose we can go ahead and wrap up there. I am more excited now for next week because of all the information we got from last night's episode.
I don't even care about Aor anymore.
Yeah, Aor is like, it's just like
the Lucian, like
new things just keep like stacking over like the previous things we were worrying about. Aor is now old news. Aor is in 2020. 2021 is the year of Lucian and Molly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
My goodness.
Can't wait.
So I guess with all that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Once again, thank you all so very much for joining us. We love talking about this with you guys, and it's awesome seeing you guys interact with each other as well as us, with typing in chat and stuff. It's such a joy. We love doing this. It's definitely one of the highlights, of my week, next to actually watching the episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you all for joining us. And be sure to tune in next week, where hopefully we'll have more insanity to talk about.
Oh my goodness.
There is so much more to come. So much more to come.
We're gonna get the Tomb Takers in the tower.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll have a tower scene with the Tomb Takers, and that's gonna be a whole thing on its own. Oh gosh, I'm so excited. But we do have to unfortunately wait an entire week for it. Luckily it's not 4 weeks like last time. But still a week nonetheless. Once again, thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, morning, day, wherever you may find yourself on this wonderful earth. We love you all very much, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.